I am syncing audio. You're welcome, Seth. 3, 2, 1. You suck. Hi, welcome to the CIS podcast, a show where we talk about computers and technology and other relevant things. Hopefully. So, today we are talking about a thing that we play a lot as CIS majors, video games. So, where do we want to begin? Do we want to start with...
we should start with introductions.
Oh, that is... At some point, I will get used to doing this show at some point.
Maybe next week.
So just want to start there, or do we start over here? Since the last two episodes, I started over there.
I'll go first, since
Okay.
I'm a repeat offender. I mean, a repeat visitor. I'm Mr. Stephen Elliot. I'm the director of the CIS program at Emmaus Bible College.
And I am Dan Rao. I am a junior here at Emmaus Bible College, not UW Platteville anymore. I used to be at UW Platteville.
Good job.
And I'm a computer science major here.
Cool. I'm Josh Shorley. I'm the host of this podcast. I'm also a senior at Emmaus Bible College in the CIS major.
And I'm Kelly Strandholm. I'm a senior, one of the very few females in the CIS major.
You're growing in number, though.
Yeah, you are.
I am not the gold star.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
You guys are growing in numbers. Now that we've introduced ourselves, now where do we want to begin?
Excellent. Well, I thought talking about video games, we could start one of two places. I'll let you
Yeah.
choose either the games that we currently play in the major, or what each of us, what do we play individually. So, do you want to talk about the major games first, or?
I mean, that might be a good place to start, just because
Okay.
then, because we can all talk about stuff, and then we can
And
individually.
it's a nice relevant topic because
Yeah.
we just
And we
had
just
a
had-
CIS major party.
Yeah, we did.
Where we played a game. What game did we play, Dan?
Oh, that was awesome. It's called Artemis. So imagine that you're in Star Trek, right? And you're actually on the bridge of the ship of the Enterprise. And you have your captain that's sitting there, and he's telling everyone what to do. And then you have 5 or 6 other people who are doing all the various jobs, from helm to weapons to science to communication to fighter jets in some cases.
Yeah.
That was a new one.
And you're all flying this ship together, and what you end up doing is you end up getting like 2 or 3 ships worth of people together, and you go out and you attack the bad guys, essentially. And it's really cool because it's chaos, because everyone's shouting over at one another. We have some cool video of that. But it's really cool because you're
can I
like...
get that from you, and maybe like have that playing in the corner just to...
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
It's only like a minute long, and it's kind of hard to hear, but
Well,
the
like,
chaos
I'll probably
is
mute the audio
evident.
just so you can kind of see.
But within that chaos, there's order. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It works really well.
Specifically in that clip, there is like order to the mass chaos.
It all depends on who you have as the captain.
That's true.
If you have a bad captain, everything is
goes
not
awry.
ordered.
And whether or not you send a nuclear bomb into a midst of fighter jets, which are your
Just gonna
allies.
mention that. So, in
that
order
was
to make the
directly at me.
CIS party more interesting, so Dan, Josh, you guys were there. Kelly, you weren't able to make it to this one, but you played
But
Artemis
yeah,
in the
you've played
past.
Artemis before, yeah.
So to make it more interesting, I involved a ranking system for all of the students.
Yeah.
So everybody comes in as a recruit, and then as they complete missions and whatnot, they get leveled up: ensign, lieutenant commander, all the way up to captain. Jersey finally made it to captain, and so we're like, oh, this is great. He's a new captain, and he asks me as the fleet admiral for a ship, and I'm like, granted, you've made it to captain, we'll give you a ship. So I gave him a ship and I gave him a crew, and he started, being the captain, which was a new experience for him. Did a pretty good job with that. Until the end of the round, when we were in a battle with probably 3 or 4 other vessels, the last 3 or 4 vessels of the mission, and all 3 of the ships in my fleet are engaged. One of them has released fighters, so there's 3 of our little fighters zipping around in between the 3 enemy ships. And Jersey thinks to himself, this needs to end. Weapons, arm a nuke. Target the middle vessel. And as he's saying fire, I look over at him and I say, Jersey, we still have fighters in there. Not my problem.
That
And
is
he
what happened.
nukes all of our fighters. Which won the game, but I stripped him of his rank of captain, and he's now a commander again. And I took his ship away, so...
That kind of reminds me of Ender's Game.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Really
Jersey
good
is
book,
Ender.
really terrible movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I haven't read the book, but for someone who hasn't read the book, I thought the movie was pretty good.
Oh, the book is fantastic. Learning about what warfare is in a 0G environment.
Yeah.
How there is no up. It's a really cool read.
Yeah. going back to this game, because I was comms like the entire time, so I didn't really make it past like the second rank or something. But like,
I think you made it to lieutenant.
Yeah, I think I made it to lieutenant. But like my defense, like I was editing either the previous podcast or a video on my second channel, so it worked out. But like it didn't let me.
Comms, contact DS1 and request more nukes. Hold on a second.
Hold on.
Pause my video.
So hold on, we're in
the middle of a combat situation. Stop editing videos.
You're trying to see if any of the other enemies had surrendered or not, and then being like, wait, don't fight. Oh, too late.
Yeah, we shot down the guy who was fleeing.
Well, here we go.
Anyway, that game is awesome. We're definitely going to do a repeat party with that one. And we'll play a lot more of that.
Oh, yeah.
Another game that we play frequently at our Maya CIS parties is Halo.
Of course.
Yes.
We play some Halo. Now, not Halo 5.
Yeah, not the most
Halo
recent
4,
Halo.
Or 3.
And not
or
even
Reach,
2.
Or ODST. Or 2.
Halo.
But Halo 1.
And I feel like we run into some problem every time we play it because like of the updated systems, and we have to like do we have to do something to it?
So we had for a while 6 computers that were too new to run Halo 1.
Yeah.
The drivers were making the graphics do weird things. But with a
fun,
recent
though.
driver update, they work fine now. So we can actually use all the computers in the classroom to do it.
So it was a Windows thing.
It was a Intel
or
graphics driver issue for a while. But anyway, we play Halo 1 and you guys have all been to a Halo party. So.
I am good at distracting, kind of, sort of.
I'm just not good at any of it.
I don't know. See, I distinctly remember one CTF game where you were sitting next to the flag with a shotgun and you killed me 30 times during that one game.
No better question. Do you remember this?
I would come out of the teleporter right next to the flag, and you'd just be there like, nope, you can go back over to the other side of the map now.
Isn't that kind of considered like puppy guarding?
I mean, camping, but it's a legitimate strategy.
Smarty guarding. Smart.
There's a red versus blue quote.
Whatever.
I do remember though that I won the very first vehicles only.
Oh yeah,
That was fun.
yeah. So
That was great.
if you guys have never played Halo 1, the vehicle physics in Halo 1 are great. The vehicles are indestructible, and so if you run 2 vehicles into each other, they have to go somewhere. And it's very interesting what they do.
Falls out,
so we play a game type where you can only get kills by running somebody over with a vehicle. And there's enough vehicles on the map, everybody gets in a vehicle to start, and then the goal is to flip people out of the vehicle. And yes, that is a game that even those who are not the most excited about Halo can enjoy.
No, well, I don't
My
understand.
wife will play that one. So.
What I don't understand is like how all of them are like land vehicles, and then there's that one whatchamacallit that
the
flies.
the Banshee.
That like, what is its purpose? If you have that vehicle, you're kind of not in a good place to be.
I usually cut that one out of the vehicles. It's just warthogs, the rocket hogs, the regular warthogs.
I think that one still manages to end up being there, even every once in a while. It's just like, why? I have a vehicle, but there is no purpose to this.
That's a good camera angle, Josh. That's
There you go.
So basically, if we were in the game filming, hypothetically, then that'd be the camera vehicle. You know, I don't think you can do that in Halo, at least not to my knowledge.
No, you can use like Fraps to record it.
Yeah, but like, I know there's some games where it's like you can there's like virtual camera, if you will, like from within the game, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, not in Halo 1. Mostly, Halo 3 and on had that. But
I wonder if I'm weirdly cross-referencing that with like VR technology anymore, because like I know with some VR, like if you get a third controller supposedly, then that kind of acts as like a third camera, sort of like as part of the game. So I think that's what allows like some of these like gaming channels to superimpose people onto the VR world.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Like, because I heard this from on Shonduras' channel. They have like a green screen set up. And they bought like a third controller and set it on top of like the camera they have pointing at the green screen, and that's supposedly what that's for. But I don't know too much about that. But that
sounds really cool. I'll have to look into that in the future.
Can I interpose a video game related dream I had?
Oh dear.
I suppose. Are you sure that you want to put that out?
I'm quite positive.
If you regret this later, I can
My
edit it out.
subconscious created a new console system.
Ah,
interesting.
It was PlayStation, because I want to get a PlayStation.
Cringe.
Well, I love the controllers, the PlayStation.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
And it was called a PlayStation Alice, ALYSS. And it was purple, and it looked kind of like if you took a GameCube controller, with the 3 prongs, and squished it, looked like that. So it was pretty chunky, and it was VHS compatible. You could actually
Good.
stick it.
Good. Yes.
You could stick it in the VHS player.
Best technology ever. 10 out of 10.
To hook it up to monitors or TV screens, you use the RGB cables.
Okay.
Okay.
And you couldn't put discs in it. It was only cartridge compatible.
Only cartridge. Okay.
So we have like a weird like Nintendo 64
Yep.
VHS crossover.
Now,
weird
before we release
blob.
this podcast,
Yes.
make sure you patent all of those ideas.
Of course.
No stealing.
No, not allowed. No, don't. Anyway,
We have
Apparently, I got a very good deal for it at the store. I only paid $70.
score.
And it
and
was...
VHS compatible.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was amazing because the store had it in storage for so long and they couldn't sell it, so they gave it to me for a really
Gee, I
great
wonder
price.
why.
But it was the Alice was supposedly a really great system.
Sounds like the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh,
Too soon? No.
Always too
That was
soon.
so long ago.
mentioning consoles, that might be a good segue to kind of like briefly talk about like what have been some of our favorite consoles
Yeah.
to play on. I mean, my answer is kind of limited because in prepping for this podcast, I realized I've really only ever owned anything Nintendo. I still have the Nintendo 64. I have the original like DS. Well, not the original. The like smaller, like more square one, not the one where it's like slightly bigger on the bottom. I still have that one sitting around somewhere. And I have a Wii. So like that's something I realized.
Nintendo.
So I can't really compare like any. Well, I've played other ones, but like of ones I've owned, those are the only ones I've owned. But yeah.
What about you, Dan? What did you grow up with console-wise?
Well, I
what's
grew
your
up with
favorite?
those plug-and-play games.
Okay.
Which, so for me, it was Atari. Believe it or not,
Yes.
Atari and Pac-Man and Adventure. Oh, so many great games.
Great game.
That was my version of video gaming growing up. I did eventually get a Game Boy Color. The
had that
only
too.
game I think we ever finished on it was Dora.
Solid choice.
And
Solid.
we got to like the second to last world, right? And all we need to do was to get this little chest. We got to like literally the last gate, and there was the chest here, and there was like this little pillar right there. And we couldn't figure out how to get to this chest. So we eventually, after like 2 hours, went all the way back 2 worlds previous, saved like this key or whatever. Eventually we made it work. But we found out not too long later that all we had to do was push down to crawl to the chest. And yeah, that was frustrating. So I had a Game Boy Color. I mean, it was all right. PC though, you gotta love PC.
Oh, right.
But yeah, no, PC gaming is by far my favorite. I have huge aspirations for Star Citizen, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. I love virtual reality; it just blows my mind. I have dreams of programming in virtual reality. Mass Effect. I want Mass Effect multiplayer in virtual reality.
That'll be like Mass Effect 6, though. Or Andromeda 3, let's see if we want to call
That
it.
would be wonderful. And that would be really awesome if they made that another trilogy.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, PC all the way for me by far.
No.
Kelly, what consoles did you grow up with?
My parents did not let us have a console
Really?
for the
Good
longest
parents.
time.
Good parents.
I grew up playing video games since I was like, I don't know, 5. I would sit there and watch my dad work on Excel worksheets. I would create random slideshows in PowerPoint as fun. So I did a lot on the computer.
Did you have like Office XP or Office 2000 with like the little paper?
What version?
Yes.
Yeah,
The paperclip?
well, there you go.
Yes.
That's pretty much a video game all in and of itself.
It's one way to put it.
Well, there are multiple characters, but like that's pretty much everyone's favorite. So it might as well be like the one and only video
I
game
beg to
character.
differ. Einstein was the best.
Wasn't he a light
Because
bulb?
you could get him to blow up. If you clicked on him enough times and said the little animate thing, eventually he would just nuke himself.
Wasn't
And then he would
Einstein a light bulb
he'd walk
though?
back
Or
in.
was
It
Einstein a
great.
person or was he a light bulb? I can't remember.
No, he was
It was a
actually
light bulb.
a person.
Okay.
So depending on which version of Office XP you had different characters available to you. And our school had whatever the top of the line was. It had all the characters. Wasted so many times in keyboarding class. Animate.
Anime. Supposed to be typing.
I
but animate.
remember the paperclip, the light bulb, and the dog.
Oh, the
The
dog.
dog
Oh,
was
the
irritating.
Dog.
They were
I
all
forgot about the
irritating.
dog.
The paperclip was less so.
No,
Less so.
like paperclip's everyone's favorite, hands down. Let's be real.
Clippy.
That was his name. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was yours since?
Well, so yeah, like Kelly, my parents were not fans of video games,
Yeah.
so I chalk that up to them being good parents.
Yeah.
But my dad did at some point purchase a Nintendo NES, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. And so that's kind of what I grew up with was Super Mario Brothers, and then two games that fewer people have heard about, Gradius and then Top Gun. And you can get Super Mario Brothers and Gradius on the Wii. In fact, I do have them on the Wii. I played them a couple weeks ago.
Like that's one I'm infamous for playing Super Mario. It's one I'm infamous for playing over like summer break or Christmas break on my Nintendo 64 because I'm like, childhood.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so NES was kind of what I had growing up. I had friends who had N64s, so I played GoldenEye on the N64. Lord of the Rings on the GameCube,
Yes.
Halo on Xbox and Xbox 360 when Halo 2 came out. Halo 2, I guess, was still on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of Xbox 360 as I got into college and whatnot. My aunt had a PlayStation, and there was a game called Jet Moto, which was like a jet ski racing game, but more of a hovercraft than a jet ski. It's a really cool racing game. My brother and I played it, and we had no clue what we were doing. So it was the best time that we ever had. But yeah, more PC stuff. My dad had a couple of computers for work, and so like Windows 95, the Tetris that was on Windows 95, and Space Cadet pinball on Windows 98 and XP.
Oh my goodness, yes.
The classics. They're classic because you pull the computer out of the dumpster and it just happened to have those games on it, or because you grew up playing them. I'm not sure which.
Yeah. So I know like we've kind of talked about ones we've grown up with, but this might create a debate. I'm not really sure, but what is your favorite console that you've played on?
Do we have to go console? Because Dan and I are in this
I guess
PC
true.
boat.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I guess I'm just kind of leaving console as like anything that we've just
Okay,
listed.
so
like,
non-PC. Well, let's stay away from PC right now.
Non-PC.
Best console game. They do make Mass Effect 3 for the console, but I haven't.
Yeah, but that's just wrong. That's just wrong. I love Mass Effect, but to play it on because you like pause it every time you use an ability. It's not okay.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah.
Okay, so best console.
Yeah.
Best console or best console game?
Or I eventually want to do both. But
Let's
I'm
start
trying to
with
transition.
console.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like kind of thinking start with
see,
console.
I can answer both those
Unless you want to
questions.
just answer both in the same.
I can answer both at the same
swipe.
time because Halo is my game. I mean, that's
Yep.
that's where I go,
Yeah, we
and
can just go ahead and answer
specifically
both in the same
Halo
swipe.
1. So if I want to play Halo 1, it's an Xbox 360,
Yeah.
and I played the anniversary edition of Halo 1.
Yeah.
So that I have an Xbox 360 with that game in it. And that's the only game that's ever in the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 travels with me with that game in it.
That is its
So-
sole use.
So I'd have to be between that and the Wii. My family
Yeah.
really enjoys the Wii.
I guess I should mention this earlier. I do own a Wii. It's
You're
funny
not
because like
just-
when I got the Wii, I split it 50-50 purchasing with my dad. And who got the Wii when I went off to college? Obviously, my father. I apparently have no rights to it. It's fine.
It's fine.
But
You're not bitter.
I don't know if I can really consider that a gaming console or not, but I'll leave that up for another
The
debate.
Wii is a gaming
It is, but
Yeah.
There's
Like,
bowling.
it is a
There
gaming.
is.
Like it is a
How
gaming
many
console,
different
but not in the same
games
way
that you have to use a disc for? Like, how many different discs do you actually use with your Wii?
Well, I'm 3 because I only have 3 Wii games:
Okay.
Boom Blocks, Sports Resort, and Wii Fit.
no Mario Kart.
No.
Like,
No.
I'm kind of.
My wife is not a fan of Mario Kart, so
Really?
I play that at my brother's house.
I'm kind of
Scared of turtles.
Turtles. I'm kind of sort of in that same, but like we own more than 3, but like whenever I'm home on break, there's like only ever about like maybe 3 I play. Like Mario Kart is 1. Sometimes like we resort Mario Galaxy, the first one, because I looked into reviews and like not a lot of people liked the second one as much as the first one, so I bought the first one.
My family also has a Wii. That's the one game console my brother and I could
family
convince my
console.
parents to get.
It basically is.
This is good for kids.
Yeah, very active. We knew it wasn't going to be active.
I
So
spit on you, I'm sorry.
we have like I don't know 20 games for the Wii, but the only ones I play on if I were to go and play on it now instead of just watch Netflix, I would play Mario Kart Wii. Yeah. And I think that's it. We have like many of the different Lego ones, and those are okay. But it's Mario Kart
classics.
Wii.
The classics.
I can beat my brother at that game.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
Like, okay, who am I playing? What game can I beat them at? Let's play that one.
Yeah.
Well, I figure if I can beat my brother at a video game, I can do pretty well. That's my litmus test.
Yeah. Okay.
So the fact that I can beat my brother at Mario Kart Wii, that means this is my favorite game.
That's
Yeah. I never actually answered the actual question though. So as far as my favorite console I've ever played, as much as I hate to say, I'd probably say Xbox 360.
Yeah.
For the sole purpose that is what my best friend taught me how to game on. That is I never really had a real gaming system per se, in the sense that you had a controller and you're looking at a screen and then you had like the whole 3D thing. That was new to me. I was totally the guy who was shooting up at the sky and then down at the ground and then up at the sky and down at the ground. And it took me forever. And I learned on Battlefront.
How
was
old
the
were
game.
you when you learned?
This was middle school. Literally no experience previous to that.
Yeah.
So like between that and then learning how to play zombies with my best friends and stuff like that. And then eventually Halo Reach, I think is what we played and stuff like that when we would do parties. So for the sole purpose of history and learning what gaming even is, I had no idea.
No.
I have to go 360.
I think my favorite is probably Nintendo 64, and like not just because it has like a little special place in my heart because it's what I've owned forever and ever and still have, but like it's probably my favorite one that I've played on. Like GameCube was fun. Like I like the Smash Brothers on GameCube, but I'd probably still say Nintendo 64 just because the classics.
Who's your character on Smash?
Oh gosh, I enjoyed Kirby.
Super floaty.
Swallowing people and throwing them off.
Yeah, kind of, because like for me, it's kind of like I felt like it's hard to choose from the large amount of people. So when you're Kirby, you just kind of borrow the power of all the other people, so you get the best of everything. Hypothetically, it doesn't always end well, but that's how that goes. So yeah, what's your favorite?
I have to go with the GameCube for similar reasons for Dan. That was the game console I learned on. One of my best friends in elementary school, like 2nd grade, I'm talking. I would go to his house and we would play on this GameCube, and I still, to this day, love the GameCube controllers.
That was the first console where I learned combos, like not just hitting one button to do something. It was the Lord of the Rings. I think it was 2 Towers that my friend and I used to play on that. And it was like A, B, B, A, and it would do something different than just hitting A. What? Yeah, that was the first console that I ever did combos on. That was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I can't handle the Xbox controllers.
No.
Because I'm so used to like PlayStation and GameCube controllers, Xbox just feels clunky and
it fills your hands more.
And I don't know if it's not sensitive enough or too sensitive, but I tried playing Halo 1. I couldn't do it. I was shooting up in the air as if I'd never played video games before.
We were talking about consoles for a moment there, and we also started mentioning PC. So I want to ask the question, right now, if you had to choose between you can only game on a console for the rest of your life, or you can only game on a PC for the rest of your life.
Now, would you have to pick a console or any console?
Like any console. So I'll open it up. You can play any console you want, but you have to be a console gamer, or PC, but you have to be a PC gamer. Okay? From here on.
PC hands down, because that's all I got right now. I can live with it.
Shoot. I'm torn because like I've been saying like, oh, I love all the Nintendo stuff because classics, but there's part of me that's kind of like, I would maybe rather be PC for the rest of my life, just because I feel like there's more options like available, or like because you can do like you have options for like and emulate things. But you can do you have like these like kind of 2D type horror games, or like just 2D in general, and you have these like really creative like 3D worlds, whether it be like blocks or like in a specific like realm, like blocks meaning like Minecraft and like realm. There's a game I've been watching on YouTube that I'm really interested in. It's similar to Minecraft, but it's in a underwater type scenario. It's called Subnautica. And so like you build stuff and you like survive, and like I've watched people play and like the game kind of develop and like all the bug crashes, and some people being like, why do I have like the most ruined version of this game ever? But no, it's interesting like looking at like all the like Leviathan creatures are kind of like giant like sea dragon, like literally dragon type thing. Then there is a creature called a warper, which is not a fun one to run into just because it'll warp you. Like, it's called a warper because it'll warp you to somewhere else, and you won't know how far you're going to be away from where you originally were.
Somewhere else.
But like it's the same concept as Minecraft, where you have to go get the things you need and then like find recipes by like scanning things that you find in order to build the things that you need.
It's basically an angel from Doctor Who.
Warper?
Without the time.
Kind of.
That's another topic for another time.
Maybe, sort of. But no, it's a really interesting game that I'd be interested to get my hands on to play at some point. But anyway, I'd probably be PC just because I feel like there are more options, even though I'd be going away from the classics.
Video games did start with the PC, so there's gonna be at least that many more options out there.
Yeah, like that.
Pong.
Yeah.
That was...
But I thought Pong was like something you that was like I thought it was I don't know. I thought it was like either console or like something like a plug and play to your TV type deal.
I guess I don't know my history well enough to assert absolute facts about where PC gaming started. We should have had Mark Newland on this podcast.
Gosh darn it.
So he actually taught a class, PC, or not PC gaming, but gaming in general, the history of gaming. Yeah, back at one of the colleges he used to work for. So I've been considering adding history of gaming as an elective to our program, but as it is, we've got too many different courses to offer as is, and too few faculty to offer them. So
Yes.
Maybe later. Dan, PC or console?
Well, considering I had not 2 days ago a debate topic in which I presented why PC gaming is 100% better than console, I think I'm going to have to go with console. In fact, I don't have to think. I know I would go with console, based on the fact that it's cross-platform and so many things. I mean, it has Mass Effect Andromeda as well as Mass Effect series, which I care a lot about.
You
Star
said
Citizen.
console twice.
Did I?
Yes.
Words are really hard.
Why can I not step in the shot for this one? Break.
Yes. So yeah, no, I'm PC all the way. For many reasons I'm sure I could share, and also just virtual reality is something that I am psyched about, and I think that'll mostly be PC. I mean, you have the PlayStation system, but it's not quite at the same caliber that the say HTC Vive is right now.
Right. No, it's definitely going to be driven on PC first before it makes it heavily into console. It'll make it there eventually, but. I'm hoping we have holodecks at about that point in time as well.
Yes. Of course, I mean, if I chose console, then I would basically never come to a CIS major party. Because...
Well, I've thought about getting out the Xboxes for Halo, maybe Halo 4.
It's been done one or two times.
It's so much easier to get 30 people into a PC game than it is to get 30 people into a console game right now. So.
How about you?
I'm hesitant. I would, hands down, it's going to be PC, but man, I'm going to miss my Halo. Halo 1, Halo 2 on PC is great, and now that there is part of Halo 5 on the PC, but I'm going to miss Halo Anniversary Edition if I just did PC only. But yeah, Star Citizen, Mass Effect 3... I think I could.
It's hard to give them up.
I could be content if I had those.
I am completely content with PC simply because there are the video games that you consider video games where you're first person or third person or whatever. But then you've got those Flash games that are just floating out there on the internet.
Yeah.
True.
I love
All the
those.
addictive little mini games. Yeah.
Yeah.
None of which I will mention because
that's
I
good.
don't want to be responsible for another.
Oh,
It doesn't have the word
We
candy
have-
in it, does it?
What?
It doesn't have the word candy in it, does it?
One of them might.
no, when you said
One of the
Flash.
many.
No, when you said Flash games, I was thinking of Mario Yordles that we still that
Oh, yeah.
was in discussion about maybe playing on this
I'm not
playing
good
on
at
this
it.
podcast, but we'll also look in that.
It looks so
Um,
fun. Have you heard of Mario Yordles?
Not-
Dan?
Never
It's like
heard
a
of it.
Mario and
So-
Portals crossover.
Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
But you have a portal gun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so
And I think it's multiplayer, like up to 8 players, too. So
yeah,
Is
so
it
we have to
3D
figure
or
this
is it
out.
No, it's 2D side scroller
Yeah,
still.
it's-
It's the same game, but now you have a portal gun.
I've seen somebody create something similar
Yeah.
on a graphing calculator.
Okay.
Really?
Where it was just like a first person runner, and you had to get from one end to the other, and
Yeah.
it was more like a puzzle almost.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very much Mario style, but with a portal gun.
It wasn't Block Dude that you're thinking of.
No, Block Dude was
Okay.
fun though. That's
Yeah,
that's
cool.
all I did in Algebra 2 in high school. I did that and wrote song lyrics on the graphing calculator.
Yeah, that's what I do in Calc
Yeah.
2 these days. Just play Block Dude. Yeah.
Sure.
Two things. One, let us know in the comments below if you want to see us play Mario Yordles for an upcoming podcast. Second, we mentioned Star Citizen.
Ooh, we did mention
so,
Star Citizen.
I don't know if we
Least
want to go
voice.
there because I have on my notes that it's kind of a infamous game only because it takes a lot to run it. I know there's more to.
No, that's the
Like,
whole thing.
that's
It's
really
just a
just-
game that you have to have a really expensive computer to
That's-
run. That's all you need to know about it.
no. You said no. We'll come back to that, and we're coming
Okay,
back
let's
to it
come
now.
back to it.
So
There we go.
I'm giving you this thing to talk about it before. So
Okay.
I'm kind of handing
Do
it
you
to you.
want to tell the audience a little bit about Star Citizen?
Oh, that's difficult to do because it's so vast in what it's going. But
is
I
very
I can give it a shot. So Star Citizen, imagine that space travel is possible, and you can literally go and do absolutely anything you want, virtually. With limitations, obviously, but it's essentially that there's an open world system is one game, and then the other game, Squadron 42, is the first person military campaign.
Is it all first person, or is it just story driven, third person, first person combo?
I mean,
Is it all
they've been pretty secretive
Oh,
about
okay,
it,
we don't know.
but
Yet. Okay,
I'm assuming it's
probably similar to what we have right now.
it's which is mostly first person, right? I mean, you can go third person,
Yeah.
especially with the ships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But basically, it is what is driving computer hardware right now. It is
Not scientific research.
Not
or
scientific research.
Cryptography.
Games.
Star Citizen.
Star
a
Citizen
game
reason.
where you can go and fly in the stars. But it's incredible and it's massive and it's absolutely huge, just what it encompasses.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, I would highly recommend just Googling it. I think robertspaceindustries.com is the website. It's a
Yeah.
game that's in beta
A
or
lot
even
of
like
beta.
pre-beta right
Yeah.
now. They've been developing it for 3 years,
At least.
3 years or so, but they're releasing it to the group of Kickstarter backers that were backing it, and then new people who are continuing to support it in its beta form. And I mean, they have come a long way.
Oh, it's incredible.
So it's already a massively multiplayer online experience where you're playing online with people from around the world. And the big thing right now is essentially flying a ship through space, completing simple missions like shooting down pirates and rescuing other ships and things like that. The goal of it is to be a persistent universe, massively multiplayer online, but with a graphics fidelity that's just unbelievable. So extremely high resolution graphics, really good physics engines. Crisis used to be the game that people would brag about. My computer can run Crisis at full 1080p. CryEngine 3 was the engine that Crisis 3 was built on. Star Citizen started on CryEngine 3. They've now surpassed that engine. They're moving on to Lumberyard to just develop this amazingly good-looking game. And they've done a really good job with it. I haven't even played the newest release, the 2.6 release.
Neither have I.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I don't have a computer that can. I physically own the game, and I don't have computer that can run it.
So I have
With
two
the hopes, yes.
I have 2 computers in my office that can run Star Citizen, and one
So
of
you're
them is set
hardware,
up
right?
just to
Your
run
computer
Star
hardware.
Citizen.
So
Yes.
at some point, then.
But no, it's amazing because the second you get into the game, there's not a single load screen. And imagine having our entire universe fully explorable, fully detailed to the minutest detail, and not a single load screen. To where you can literally go from this star system immediately, or not immediately, but through a series of things.
Get on your ship,
Get on
light speed
to this her place, go through this warp tent hole, light speed to this next planet, go there, fly around home, complete the mission, come back without a single load screen in amazing detail.
You make a really good point. I've completely taken that for granted now.
Yeah.
And it's because I don't play enough other games, I guess.
It's huge.
But yeah, I mean, you have an environment that is literally gigantic. Okay? I mean, massive scales, actual real astronomical scale environment that you can move through without having to load new assets, which is amazing. It's utterly amazing. And I take that for granted because I've been playing it for so long now.
So you say there's no load screen.
Yeah.
You mean you don't have to load anything after you get into the game.
You get into the game, and the game is there. And then as you move, so rather than like you move from this part of the map to this part of the map, and it closes out that part of the map and loads this one, or you're playing a game, you walk into a building and it has a little loading screen. You're walking into such a building.
Or
and
like
then
Minecraft, it loads chunks.
Yeah, like that. Okay. Yeah. None of that. They are doing a little bit like the Minecraft chunks, but they do it predictively so that you don't ever see those chunks. But yeah, I mean, it's a massive
And once they have it like fully up and running, like with the full universe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the entire community who is playing at that moment will all be in the same game.
Yes, I believe that is what they're shooting for. Is that it's a single universe.
So it's a connected
a single universe,
game, not like a,
which everyone is playing in.
Okay.
So imagine having literally, I mean, what's their community at right now? It's basically a small country is what it is.
Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of players.
And all of them playing at the same time at high quality.
As soon as it launches like that, I want to send out a message to the entire community. Everybody meet here.
You will crash it.
So you're gonna have a network built for that, right? So you can fill out the internet speed and all that.
Oh gosh.
They're gonna call me. Why?
Okay.
Do you ever recover from that?
Well, so here's the thing: is I think they're going to be prepared for that eventuality. So they have a ton of money, and that's one of the big things, the craze around Star Citizen. They started as a Kickstarter. And they said, a couple $1 million, this is what we want to do. These are the people that we're going to have working on it. They have some really good big names from some of the older games. Would people fund this? And I think it was some unprecedented, like within a month, they had met their goal. And then they were meeting all of their stretch goals, like weeks after that. And their campaign was supposed to be significantly longer. And eventually they got up to a point, I think it was like $30 million of funding, where they said, we got to get off Kickstarter. And so they started kind of their own like funding campaign, their own website. I think it was $70 million in like the first year still. I mean, it was crazy the amount of money. I think they just crossed 100 million recently for the amount of just people who are like, take our money. We love you. Just take our money and make this game. And so they've got just this amazing amount of financial backing. They haven't had to do any advertising. Not any, but they've done minimal advertising in order to get this funding, and they're dumping it all into developing a amazing experience.
And what's amazing about that is because they've set it up like this, everything as they create it, they release to the public.
And they're getting immediate feedback.
Yes, and there's a feedback in which you go in there and you know what works and where there are bugs and where it crashes and where things are wonderful and where people want more of this. So it's literally being tailored right to the consumer. Which is just really cool.
So really cool. Anyway, robertspaceindustries.com. We are not sponsored by them.
No.
But
go
check it out.
I seem to have cut out multiple times in the previous episodes.
And if you come to Emmaus and you want to check it out, come talk to me about it. I've got a computer set up that pretty much just plays Star Citizen right now. So if you want to come experience Star Citizen, you can do that.
All right. So I have one last question regarding the fact that there's no start screen. And it's an open world, and how do you connect then to this game? Because
so there is a start screen, and the game does load, But then as soon as you click on this is where I want to go, you essentially wake up in a bed on a space station.
Okay.
So anyway, you can't connect to the game, you wake up in your bed, and from there, there's little on-screen prompts of like, here's what you should do. You have a little virtual laptop, so to speak, that has a task list on it, and you can click on a task and it gives you a little nav point, and then you can pick up jobs, and it kind of tells you what to do from there. But yeah, completely open world. Part of the open world, you can accidentally steal other people's ships. Which I didn't realize. I just saw this really cool ship sitting there. I was like, I wonder if I can get in that. And then I hijacked it and then took it away. And as I was leaving, I turned around and looked back, and there was the guy like, hey, that's my ship. But, sorry, I don't know how to get out of it.
All right, so that was my last question. Right. So in this podcast, we talked about games. In the next episode, I will be playing a very interesting game involving mythical beasts and creatures. But anyways, that does it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. You can click over here to subscribe to our channel and be notified whenever we upload more podcasts. And you can click over closer to Mr. Elliot to see the last week's episode. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!